A very, very warm, late good evening here from Germany. Early good morning, very early good morning in India. Good afternoon or good morning in other parts of the world. This is Arun Chaudhary. You are live on my YouTube channel, arunfoot. And on this late evening of the 4th of April 2025, let's once more talk about Indian football. And therefore, hi, woman. And XYZ says, as if for now anyone in India would be awake to watch. It's 2:30 midnight. You never know, XYZ, who might be watching, who might not be watching, from where you are watching. Everyone is welcome. And of course, there are a lot of people who do also watch arunfoot from other parts of the world. So therefore, hi, Bharat. It's a Friday night, so maybe the one other person had gone out, come back. So therefore, yeah, let's wait and see who joins us and who once more wants to maybe talk a little bit about Indian football and what is all going on or not going on, should be going on, should be happening or not happening. And therefore, coming live as we look forward to an interesting weekend of football. First of all, second leg of the ISL semifinals will be played on Sunday and Monday, with FC Goa hosting Bengaluru FC in a game in which BFC take a 2-0 lead to the Fatorda in Goa. So Goa at least have to score 2 goals to at least get into extra time. And on Monday, Mohun Supergiant, the double ISL League Shield winners, the current League Shield winners, host Jamshedpur FC, and the Steelmen, the Red Miners, take a 2-1 lead to Kolkata. So therefore, all to play for teams who finished first and second in the league stage. And then on Sunday, besides that, we have the Super Sunday in the I-League, where someone or the other will get promoted, is my summary of the situation. It is a crazy situation. Churchill Brothers face Real Kashmir in Kashmir, so that's going to be a tough one. And yeah, let's wait and see what happens. I mean, Gokulam Kerala with a outside chance to maybe get promoted, as they host Dempo Sports Club, and Intakashi, of course, also face Rajasthan United, and it's not clear if their appeal will be looked into, because yes, there's been also the court case in Delhi. So actually, factually, at the moment, the AIFF structure isn't very, very clear. A problem for the AIFF is, as per the Delhi High Court ruling, Anil Kumar Prakaran at the moment is not the secretary, so therefore that's another problem. And therefore, let's wait and see what happens. Sunday is going to be an interesting day. Let the games begin, and it looks like there will be no solution to this. And with all that is happening, I don't know how long the whole situation around the I-League will drag on. Why ISL final being played on Saturday? Woman, as far as I know, I think a lot of ISL final, the last final last year was played on a Saturday. So to me, I think playing an ISL final on a Saturday has been quite a normal feature in Indian football. So it's not not been sort of an exception. And for a lot of I remember a lot of ISL finals, if not all, actually have taken place rather on a Saturday, very few on a Sunday. Bharat says, sir, don't you think Reliance should run ISL, I-League, IFL, RFL League for men and women, U17, U20 as well? Bharat, No, I don't think so. I think that Reliance themselves think and believe that they want to run the ISL, and if you want to add something on top of it, they could be running the national team. So therefore, that's what they have been doing. That's what they have been running, and therefore, I think that's the situation as it stands at the moment. I think, and I don't think that they're actually interested in anything more. If you want to add something to their portfolio, I would say maybe they could run the national teams with it, but I don't see Reliance coming forward to run not only the ISL, but also, let's say, the I League, I League 2, I League 3. So let's say the men's structure, the IWL, IWL 2, and the women's RFDL, they are running, but that's only at the senior level, so to say, as a reserve team league, and the youth leagues are all under the AIFF. So therefore, this is very, very likely not to happen, and therefore, if RIL, I have to always add, if RIL continue, if RIL remain in Indian football, then it is very, very likely that they will, that they will only continue with the ISL from what I know. Let's see. AIFF's garbage says Bharat first. Are you in India, sir? Arman, no, I'm not. I was in India till Tuesday and Tuesday evening. I flew back to Germany, so Tuesday evening I was in Germany. Please tell me, Pia, OCI scene. The SR boy, there is nothing to talk about at the moment. We are in the same situation that we were in before Kalyan Chaube once more mentioned PIO OCI scene. Nothing has changed. It is for the government of India to make changes to the legislation, and all of that so far hasn't happened. And as long as that does not happen, the PIOs, OCIs, we keep on talking about it. The topic is raised by certain people, but de facto nothing happens, and therefore, as long as government does make the necessary changes, it is very, very difficult to look at integrating them, and we are one of few countries around the world who are doing that compared to other nations who have now come forward to integrate the players of origin and have looked to strengthen themselves. Wait time to come live. Utsav, yeah, it is in one way or the other, or no, because I'm in Europe and it's 11 p.m. or little after 11 p.m. So therefore, for me, it's not too late. Therefore, odd time, but I thought I'd still come online. Hi, Vebs, met you at the screening the other day in Mumbai. Hope you're well. Felt really good to see you after so long. Thanks, Vebs. Good to see you as well. So, how did Inter Kashi got 3 points in your view? Who's at fault? Who is so if a player is suspended, how he was allowed? What is the what's up? The appeals. First of all, the disciplinary committee stepped in, looked at the matter, and said, you know what? Namdari fielded an ineligible player. Okay. Namdari appealed the same, and Intakashis then awarded the 3 points, 3-0 goals. Namdari 0 points, -3 goals. Now, what happens after that is there is an appeal of the appeal, which, as per standard operating procedure, there is no appeal of an appeal because the appeal process makes it final. But it was allowed and it was taken back, because of a technicality. And to me, my understanding is it is not allowed, it is not possible. But somehow or the other, it was done. And therefore, for me, the AIFF is at fault. It is Interkashi is not at fault, but Namdhari is at fault. And therefore, the point was raised. And to me, I still don't know why it has been turned back, right? That the mistake which was there, which was committed by the club, because it is up to you to ensure that you keep a track of which players is allowed to play or which is not allowed to play. So therefore, I still don't know how these processes are happening, how the courts are getting involved in the running of Indian football, what am I to say? Joy Mohun Bagan says, Shushmit, good afternoon to you. Selvin, you are in Poland. Great to see you. At least you give long answers to individual questions. Utsav, I try to answer them as well as I can. And therefore, that's the thing. We want to see you as AIFF President, sir. Hashtag for President. Fishman, thank you very much for all the trust that you have in me and for all the support as always. Thank you. Not only you, to everybody else. It is always fun to do these shows and interact with as many people as possible. Grow the community of people who stand up for what is right in Indian football, what needs to be done in Indian football. It is sometimes very, very tough, very, very hard, but at least I try to speak about those things, and hopefully at some stage things will change for the better, because at the moment it's a big mess. Sorry. Some Indian teams, especially from Mumbai, training in Sports 360 Academy in Poland. Okay. Sports 360, I haven't heard about it. Where is it based? Seven Raj, let us know. Why do you think Ranch is making a conspiracy about Interkashi being favored and all that? Is he just a sore loser? Do you think Interkashi has advantage, biasness, or anything that he's alleging? Everything is a conspiracy, right? For him, Reliance, FSTL have a conspiracy. The AIFF is a conspiracy. Interkashi is a conspiracy. But my simple question to Ranjit would be that if you're saying you're doing things for the betterment of Indian football, right? I believe what you're saying. My counter question to you, Ranjit Bajaj, would be, look at what you're doing. Look at what you've done. And first question yourself. Would be my simple question to you. Because why? Because you know the wrongs that you've done over the years, which have and are harming Indian football. Accept that. And if there is a conspiracy in Interkashi's favor, then I don't know how in the 95th minute, Churchill brothers get a free kick, which isn't a free kick. A goal is given, which is not a goal. And all the demands that Churchill brothers put forward before the game have been fulfilled. So my simple question is then, if there is a conspiracy, is it a conspiracy for Interkashi? Or are old entities who've been in the I-League for some time conspiring against a new Indian football entity? I put that in the room, my friends. Is there a conspiracy against Interkashi rather than for Interkashi? Because it doesn't make sense that everything that Churchill brothers tried to do around this match, it is actually a disgrace, and any other federation would have banned the club and its officials. And the same applies to Mr. Bajaj as well, as some other people as well. So if we want to clear up the system, that's the point. That's the brutal point we should be speaking about, is what is the right thing, what's the wrong thing that's been happening or is happening or not happening. And my concern is that fair play, is not there. And Shushmit says Ranji Bajaj is the biggest traitor of Indian football. Shushmit, that's your statement. US President Ranji Bajaj is Secretary of Indian Wrestling Federation. No, you better not to. Sportsmate 360 Academy. Okay, have not heard about them, to be very honest, but I will certainly Google them. I think question has to be raised on disciplinary committee. There's a lack of due diligence. How can they overturn the judgment within a week? Utsav, I think the question about the disciplinary committee, the question about the appeals committee has to be that right decisions, which have been also given by referees, have been turned around. So that is my concern, that you're not strengthening the judiciary of the AIFF by coming forward with your decisions. You're rather harming the overall system, because you are willing to take decisions which you think are right or wrong. I don't know, or is there an influence? Because take the red card against the Delhi FC goalkeeper against Intakashi. Why is that red card turned around? Why is that made into yellow? That red card was right. There was the Chennaiyin decision as well. Red card was right. Was turned around. What is happening with these committees? And therefore, I say, if any one of these people involved in all of these things, and a new person has been added to certain committees in the last few days, if any one of these people have any moral or ethics or accountability about themselves, a lot of people should be resigning at the moment, individually or as a group. But that's not going to happen. And those people who are trying to come in are as bad or even worse. That is our problem at this moment in Indian football, that football governance is at such a low that all these characters who are vying for power don't care about Indian football. The problem really has to be that actually Indian football needs a massive clear out, that all these characters, X, Y, Z, what doesn't matter, we don't need to name it, need to go. The Web says Churchill brothers also are shady. They were ready to disband but jumped the gun when they realized they could get promoted. The Waves, I don't think that is the promotion is the issue. It's, I think the money matter is the thing, right? And promotion is not promotion, right? To me, the question with them is, could they afford to play ISL? That's the question that we should be thinking and asking. Basis the discussion you had with the club officials, more, what do you think the future stands for City? Have CFG stopped taking any interest, or are they putting less money? Vapes, to be very honest, there's a lot of rumors floating around what Mumbai City is going to do, and I think Mumbai City needs to, first of all, shake off that last season. That season was not good. And the question is if Mumbai City is going to rebuild. I think certain players will look at what the club does and then decide for themselves if they're going to want to extend their stay in Mumbai or maybe go somewhere else. That's I think Mumbai City's biggest problem, but on the other side also, it's not the only team which is looking at a rebuild. So therefore, that's the question. What is the strategy? Does the coach stay? That's the first question. Does Peter Kratky stay? When Peter Kratky stays, that's the first step. What also happens with the sporting management, right? There's been a lot of rumblings about that as well. So therefore, therefore, let's wait and see. We can't keep hold of so many of our players. With Mehtab and Vikram also in the transfer market, not sure the Mumbai fan be optimistic for next season. Are they in the transfer market, or are people constructing these stories that they are in the transfer market? That would be my question to you, right? Because to me, these people have contracts. These players have contracts, and it's not a question of the contracted players. I think the question is who can Mumbai City really bring in to strengthen. And that's the big challenge, I think, for a club like Mumbai City, right? That can you bring in the talent that you want, that you need to be able to grow the team, or do you fall back on players like this season, and then these Indian players don't step up? I think that's the biggest problem I think Mumbai City faced. You lost a whole team last summer. You brought in certain reinforcements, you brought in certain foreigners, but yeah, very few of them actually factually clicked. And that is, I think, the problem that the club has. And yeah, normally you would need to do a clear out of most probably three-fourths of the team and do an even bigger rebuild. But is that going to work? Injuries, form, consistency, all these things are an issue in Indian football, and um, you don't build a team in a year. So that's the challenge. Um, you know, so the Sir, I think referee thought the ball already crossed the goal line, so handball wouldn't matter. Utsav, question is either that, if you think. My thing is that I think the referee didn't see it. That makes it even worse. It doesn't matter what he saw. And I've had these discussions on Twitter where people have been telling me, you know what, the ball crossed the line. And this shows me, sorry if I'm being honest on that front, how some people are really football illiterate because they're seeing it in an angle, they can see the net, so they think the ball is in the goal. And there are at least two angles that I have seen where you clearly see the ball was not inside behind the white line for it to be given a goal. So therefore, it's you know again, uh, Indian football loves its conspiracies these days, but this conspiracy, in my opinion, doesn't work. We had contracts even with Apuya. He still pulled off what he did. Also, players like Bipin, a club legend, to see him staying back for a few years, considering the lack of good wingers. See, Apuya is a different case. I think Apuya, you have to be very, very honest about it. Anyone can be honest about it, that it's a sort of an Mbappe situation. Sorry, not an Mbappe, a Neymar situation, that you have a certain amount written down as a transfer fee. A club is willing to pay it, or rather, two clubs are willing to pay it. In the one club, you said, "Thank you very much, I'm not interested." The other club, you said, "You know what? Yes, I would be tempted," and you leave. So therefore, that's a situation which I see, which exists. Bad luck, I would say, on that front for Mumbai City. But I think I should have been ready with a plan B, because Apuya could have stayed back at Mumbai City and could have gotten injured for a larger part of the season, like Akash Mishra kind of situation, who didn't even play a minute. And that makes it difficult. On this side of Bipin is an interesting case. Like you say, he's a club legend. Um, I still remember a lot of football fans going gaga about Nufal after that first match between Mohun Bagan and Mumbai City. And yes, he was great. He was exceptional in that game, coming on as a super sub. But the reality is, where do we stand? Right? Where are we? Where do we stand? How good are we? And to me, yeah, the rebuild needs to be big. And Bipin, at least I have to be honest enough, from my viewpoint, or my situation where I see it, how I see it, has had a very, very poor season, right? Like many other players, to be very honest. So therefore, I think, but the question is, the Nikum, for example, perceived to be one of the next big things. You know, you know. So therefore, it's a difficult call. That's why your last question, considering the lack of good wingers, yeah, maybe look to try and extend him maybe for a couple of years. He just disappeared after that, couldn't control the ball or have a good first touch. Yeah, that's factually true, and that's sorry. That's of course the whole problem, no, with Bipin and other players. What's your view on Nagaland Super League? The man trained time 4 years. He won Nagaland League. Also good winger, can be in India too. Satyam, which player are you talking about? I don't know which player you're talking about. Sorry, give me some more insights on who you're talking about. Who's trained in Thailand for 4 years? Is it a Naga player or someone? I don't know which player or story you are alluding to. Right, nearly 27 minutes on this late show on a Friday night. For some of you, it's already Saturday morning. If you like what you're hearing, what you're seeing, do leave a like behind. Do share it with other people as well. 5 likes so far. Thanks a lot for that. And yeah, if you want to come back, regular content, do subscribe to the channel with 2,479. So we're closing in slowly towards the 2,500 mark. And as I always say, do watch the short videos that we make over here, or that I make over here. I've been doing, of course, now regularly my reviews of the ISL season, Mumbai City, Odisha, the Blasters, East Bengal, Punjab, Chennai, and Hyderabad, and Mohammedan Sporting. So if you haven't, do look them up. Yesterday, did something on the in the Daily Indian Football Circus, as I named it. A lot of issues around Indian football, a lot of disturbing issues around Indian football. So thank you as always for the support, and let's try and keep growing the community. Let's get more people into our conversations. And thanks a lot as always for that. The captain of team. I still don't know who you mean, Satyam. I don't know who you mean, who you're talking about. What's your view on Thomas Müller? I've done work at Bayern with Bayern. To me, Thomas Müller is an exceptional player. Who's I think value a lot of people can't really judge. He's one of those individuals whose way of playing, the way of doing things, intelligent, very intelligent player, very intelligent boy. He's done his stuff, and I would say big loss for Germany that Thomas is no longer with the German team, and Bayern Munich, of course, also with less and less time. But I think already a club legend. So let's see if he stays or moves on to play somewhere else. Kevin De Bruyne also retired. No, Kevin is not retiring. He's just leaving Man City. So his Man City days are numbered, but he will surely play on someone. Waiting for your ISL team review for Mumbai. The Vapes, it's online. I put it online this morning, yesterday morning. It's actually online. Share it in the Mumbai groups. Just copying the link for you if you want to. So share it. And what do you think we can win the inter match of AFC next against Singapore? So I think we're playing Hong Kong next in the AFC Asian Cup 2027 final round qualifiers. Can we win it? Yeah. I mean, we need to win it, right? So therefore, for us, tricky game. So therefore, yeah, hoping for the best. And to me, a positive result is needed. That's what we need. And then we'll see what happens if, September's then the next window, 2 matches against Singapore. Let's see what it is. His name is Jeremy, but I think he will, in consideration of India, he was also trained in Thailand and won Nagaland League as a captain. He's a very talented Indian player. And Kuru and Jeremy. Satyam. Interesting. Doesn't ring a bell for me. The player has not crossed my path as such. Is Kratke right person to build Mumbai City? Asks Shomnath. Shomnath, very valid question after the last, or the still ongoing season, so to say, which is about to end. If I see last season, what he got out of the team, how he gave them another different dimension towards the end of the season, then I would say Kratke is capable of that, right? To me, so therefore for me, Kratke has it in him to do it. But this season also there were matches where I at least thought, does he have a plan B? Can he execute a plan B? So therefore he needs to try and prove that. That's a challenge in my opinion for him, for the team, for everyone involved. And Kratke, yeah, for him it will not be easy to try and sort this out and try and get something in the right way, because to me, it will be interesting to see what Mumbai City really do. Does the club really trust him to be able to do that second rebuild, but even bigger, most probably rebuild? Or do they bring someone else in, or do they bring someone else back? So therefore, there's a lot of question marks around that. And at the moment, first of all, I think the question is also, will the sporting management, will the general management stay, or will there be changes on that front? And if that happens, that's fine. But if that, there's a lot of questions in Mumbai City at the moment, in and around Mumbai City at the moment. Satyam says Sahal is playing in Mohun Bagan. He is back to, I think, against Hong Kong next year's match. He's well, by the way, looking good. We need young winger tryout, but Sahal can be there. Yeah. Let's see. Sahal played yesterday for Mohun Bagan in Jamshedpur FC. So let's see what if he's there and what he can do. So how many spots do Indian teams get to qualify for ACL2 and how they qualify? Utsav, we have currently what we call 1+1 spots, meaning maximum 2. So the champions of the ISL League stage, which in this case is Mohun Bagan Supergiant, will get a slot in ACL2. And the winner of the upcoming Super Cup will get a chance to play in the ACL2 qualifiers. Either they qualify for the ACL2, or if they lose, they move into the third tier AFC Challenge League. Satyam says we should have quality, then quantity like La Masia Academy. Vasa, there are only 5 La Masia Academy. It's been very less, but players they give. Oh my God, Pedri, Kaviyama, we can also have in Northeast. There are no 5 La Masia Academies. Satyam, I don't know where you have that from. There is one La Masia, and that is in Barcelona. There's only one La Masia, right? There are not 5 La Masias, and that one La Masia is producing all those players. And the other teams, other clubs have their academies, yeah. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, or the smaller clubs, Sevilla, San Sebastian, or whatever they're called, all of them have their, you know, so therefore, yeah. Why do you don't like Ranjit? He's very open-minded, aggressive, and I like him, but most people hate him. I don't know. Satyam, because he sells you something. He's a good salesperson. He can sell a story, but the reality is a different one. And if someone is, sells you, I'm this, I'm helping Indian football, I'm working in football. On the other side, you're actually harming Indian football. Then I'm not going to support a person who's going to harm Indian football. Anyone who supports Indian football has my support. But there are a lot of these people who will tell you, I am doing this, I am doing that for Indian football, and whatever blah 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 there is. And if they're actually harming Indian football, I'm not going to support them. And sadly, Ranjit belongs to a class. He could do a lot of good things, but he's more interested in this petty politics, in which he's harmed Indian football already a lot. I think he's one of the biggest problems on that front. And either he accepts that and changes, which I doubt he will. He thinks certain things, so therefore, sorry, doesn't work. So it is the Shield winner or ISL Cup winner? Shield winner, not, as I said, league stage winner, playoffs winner of the ISL Cup. Not, there's no spots Utsav. So that's the plan. He lost all my respect when he defended Anwari actions. Utsav, he lost my respect when he got involved in this whole FIFA ban mess and knowingly, I told him and other people in 2022 what is going to happen, and they still said no, nahi hoga, we are India, this and that, everything. Nobody cares who you are, and this arrogance, on certain things is not suitable. And sorry, I'll say he's one of those people who I feel don't have the understanding of what needs to be done in football, and again, picks up fights with people unnecessarily, and all these actions, sorry to say, are harming Indian football. That's the problem. There are a lot of these characters who sell you, as I say, we are helping Indian football, but they're not. They're not helping Indian football, and that to me is our biggest problem, that we need to change things in the right direction, and we're not going in the right direction. That is my concern at the end of the day, that we're going in a very, 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 very wrong direction, and we're not getting where we need to get. Right, that's my concern at the moment, and sorry, that's my thing. We need to look for a better future for Indian football, and it is very, very, so therefore we'll have to wait and see. But we have hundreds of academies in Northeast. Where do you have hundreds of academies in the Northeast? Right? We have more academies in the Northeast, but do we have hundreds of academies? I don't see that. And I think talent is coming. Think of Kuru played in Manipur from New. We have from U11. So if we have honest, then Northeast and whole nation can be very positive for Indian football. Satyam, yeah, could be, but I am a little bit more critical, because I'm on that. I'm pragmatic. I'm practical. This sounds very nice what you're saying, but again, if Kuru is your top talent that is coming out of the Northeast, then we have problems, right? Because he can be a team player, but is he going to be your leader? Again, at the moment, I don't see that, right? So therefore, for me, these are things, and my problem is that all these academies, again, everybody in the system should question him or herself. AIFF, state associations, clubs, academies, players, media, fans, everybody. We have all failed, right? And that is something, that's the reality. I completely agree with your point about Bajaj. He's not doing anything without some narrow motive. I'm an East Bengal fan, but I still don't support Anwar Ali move. So Shomna, the Anwar Ali move to me is, is a very good example. you know, to me, the biggest problem, uh, everything in that thing was wrong. Everything is wrong. It is a clear-cut decision from the player status committee. Clear-cut decision. I have sat elsewhere in the world on a player status committee, so I know it is clear-cut. Listen, player has a contract, is on loan somewhere else. You break the contract, speak to another entity. The fines, the suspensions, this should have been, done and dusted on one day. Not even one day, in 3-4 hours, it could have been done and dusted because it's a clear-cut shut case. It has not been done and has opened theoretically Pandora's box for next summer. So therefore, the running of the AIFF over the last 2.5 years has been a disaster, and Ranjit has, contributed to that disaster, and is even contributing even more at the moment to that disaster, because these people say they do it for Indian football, they harm Indian football, they're destroying Indian football. That is my concern on all of this. The one thing I just hear is not the result, but matches we play so less matches. The FIFA window, we just need game time in blue jersey to improve. Satyam, we are playing, normally as many matches as we can in the FIFA windows. We can't say that, we're going to play, 25 matches a year. Not going to happen. We need to use those FIFA windows as well as possible, but we're not going to be playing more matches than we are at the moment. And the one in the window, as Manolo has said, he rather plays one match and rather has a little bit more time to train with the team. So therefore, these are all facts which are there. So sometimes not easy, but that's the way it is. So how far has Indian clubs reached in international AFC tournaments? And remember, Bengaluru played Air Force club in finals in any other instance? No, they are the only ones to have reached a continental final. Other clubs, East Bengal and Dempo, have gone to the semifinals of the AFC Cup. But that's the furthest that I remember that clubs have gone. So Indian clubs, continental level, there's not much to really talk about. Yeah, that's the reality of Indian clubs. All these big talks from the clubs and the officials and this and that, everything hasn't worked for us, right? That's the reality of and I would like to be talking with you guys about something which is much more positive, but yeah, it is the way it is. I can't change it. You will not be able to change it in that way. Maybe, yeah, together we can down the road, but it's a very disturbing fact that where Indian football is at the moment, and I don't know how can we change this in the short, mid to long term, because this is a huge challenge for Indian football, and there is I say, at the moment I don't see a simple solution to these things, right? So yeah, and that's yeah, it's it's very difficult. It's very difficult for me to summarize that as a way, and it's Indian football is at the moment in a situation where we need to put our heads down and find solutions to problems, and then work hard. And don't talk too much, just work hard. And then, maybe in 5, 7, 10 years, we can start talking about things. That's not going to happen, right? That's my concern. Football is not rocket science. Football is not something where we need to, invent something new. We just need to find our own model of development. As I said, build strong foundations. Uh, you know, um, and and uh, and then build on those foundations. Build a pyramid of development. Get as many kids as possible into the system. Funnel the best through the system. Get the best, to play for us. And therefore, yeah, it's something that we need to work on. Otherwise, again, and on the other side, there is, if we build the strong foundation, what's happening at the top, right? The top is a mess. Look at the AIFF, look at the other things around it, look at the FSDL contract, which is who's going to run the conversations now. It is very, very worrying, to say the least. Sir, I think we should compete with poor African nations. There are some African nations who are more higher ranked than European nations, and the federation just need money for a friendly. Satyam, we don't have the money for friendlies. The AIFF is going around begging states to host those matches for India. So I don't know where you think that we have money to spend. So our federation is poorer than some of these so-called poor African nations that you're mentioning. These nations very often play a lot of qualifiers, so not easily available. Hi, Stephen or Stevan. If it's Stevan or Stephen. Um, Even we don't have no, we don't have money, Satyam. The AIFF at the moment in this situation as it stands, if it doesn't sort itself out, do we know where things are? I mean, this impasse at the moment is a complete mess. Indian football is a mess of epic proportion, and that is my concern. And um, very, very complex, very, very complicated. And to answer your question, sir, what future you think? Future. Satyam, I don't know. I'll be very, very honest to you. If you want me to say that these things are gonna happen, those things are gonna happen, I don't know. I I I have I am in a situation. Anybody who can tell me what's going to be the state of Indian football in 1 year's time, you know, let's say mid 2026, just before the FIFA World Cup 2026, what's the state of Indian football? Nobody in this whole world, nobody can tell you what the status of Indian football will be next year at this time, right? Uh, and and uh, and this is something which is a reality, a brutal reality, and things are so bad. I don't know where we're going to head, and I would rather be talking to you about successes of Indian football, the growth of Indian football, success stories, Indian players playing in Europe. I would love to do that. But we are in this cycle. Uh, 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 so, yeah, that's going to be. I remember watching that match in my teens, and that was more than a decade ago. Last year, Indian was cited. Is Neymar going to come to India? Not how far have we fallen? See, the Neymar excitement, or let's say Mohun Bagan are going to play potentially Al Nassr in the Champions League too, if that happens. Those are different things, right? So therefore, Utsav, yeah, let's see. See, as academic man, I think we are getting talents, sir, surely, especially from Northeastern Punjab, but grooming with European standard in New Zealand of them is big task. Satyam, where is the talent? My question to you or to anybody is, have we produced in the last few years anyone of the talent of an I'm Vision? I have not seen a player of the talent of I'm Vision in the last 25 years, right? I'm Vision. The best footballer that I have seen from a footballing technical standpoint. Have we been able to produce players like Baichung Bhutia or Sunil Chetri, right? Players who work very, very hard to reach a certain level. Simple question. I don't see that we have been able to produce that. The last big talent that I saw over the last decade is Lalinzola Chante. Since then, this whole talent conversation is also something. If in India there is a boy who is super talented, exceptionally talented, if he's that good, he will make it to the top. No one will be able to stop him. But I don't see that talent. People sell me, you're trying to sell me Kuru as a big talent. I still don't know what the boy is about, right? He's a good player, right? He's very young, yes. But is he going to be that exception? Under 17 World Cup squad was a good team overall. But was there exceptional individual talent in that team? The worst player of that squad was a certain Apuya, who's now become, one of our best. So therefore, these are realities, brutal, and therefore we have to be honest about it. The work at the grassroots has to be better to equip our footballers with that to take them to the top level of Asian football maybe down the road. And we are technically one of the poorest nations in world football at the moment. Sir, do you think we can produce Mbappe, Messi, CR7, Özil I say no, but we're producing what we can up to our capability of Northeast. Not produce talent, we can't play football, sir. Satyam, no, I agree with you. That's what I'm saying. Before we talk about Mbappe, Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, Mesut Özil, or add Holland, whoever to that list, my question is, can we produce an I am Vijan? Can we produce a Baichu Bhutia? Can we produce a Sunil Chetri? I am not even going to the world standard. I am, you know, and therefore, to me, that is the question. Yes, the Northeast has produced better players than the rest, but even today, are we producing a Randy Singh? That's it. Are we producing players of that quality? Are we producing a Marsh Goli? Are we producing a Goramangi Singh or a Deepak Mondal? I have grown up with those boys. I've seen those boys from close quarters, and I don't see us producing that quality of players. So therefore, that's to me that's a reality. It's a brutal reality, but that's a reality, and that is the shocking part of it, that we are nowhere near producing those kind of players at the moment, right? That's the way it is, right? So therefore, for me, that's to me very, very clear. Our biggest drawback, our biggest problem, that we are not producing the level of players that we need even to compete in the long run in South Asia. And then, of course, on top of that, to compete in Asia, right? We thought, I guess, all of us thought that in 2019, when we were unlucky not to make it to the knockouts, we were closer to being a better nation in Asia. But then you look at 2023 or 2023's competition in 2024, last year, January, you saw that we have moved backwards. So that is my concern when we talk about. Sir, have you ever had a conversation with Gurpreet Singh Sandhu? Why did he leave Norway? He played Europa League, and who know you could have played Champions League. What's up? Yes, I have spoken to Gurpreet Singh Sandhu. Yes, I have interacted with him multiple times over the years. He left Norway because he had a good offer from BFC. That's the simple reason. Of course, he was playing at Stabæk, and all that stuff. But he decided for himself that it made more sense to leave Norway, to leave Europe, and come back to India. Japan also don't have big famous names like Neymar, Kaká, but their grooming and under 17, which they give them kids, are so good that they become such a good players. That's why I say grooming is problem. Satyam, to say that the Japanese don't have famous players would be wrong. I mean, I go back to the 80s, we had in Germany in the late 70s, early 80s, Okudera, right? So therefore, for me, it is a fact that had Okudera, you had in FC Remscheid, or as BV Lüttringhausen in the 80s, we used to play a Japanese player called Yahiro Kazama, right? A striker. So therefore, Japanese players have been coming to Europe since this late 70s, early 80s, and these guys were stars, Indian clubs should have the ambition to reach semi-finals in AFC 2. Utsav, no chance. If you look at the competition of in ACL 2, I don't see any Indian club getting anywhere close to the semi-finals or final. I think getting points, it's been we're not there. Post 2019 Indian league structure changed to just the ISL. In 2019, players played I-League and ISL had a greater pool of players, more games compared to now. What's your opinion? Shamadri, you could say that, but I would also then say I think Stephen got more out of the boys than they had in them. Um, if you look at 2011, post 2011, we had a decline, right? We had Bob Houghton leaving. We're not qualifying for the next Asian Cup. Armando, Savio Medera, Wim Koevermans, and Steven came in, and we were in the 170s. Just to think about it, in 2015, we were in the 170s in the ranking. Sorry, something in my ear. Oh. So therefore, we've had multiple ups and downs. You could have said the start of the ISL gave us some quality, and that improved our team. But yeah, and you're saying, Shumandri, I mean, the stake decline started post 2019. There wasn't a decline to post 2019. I think there have been declines all these years because the others have gotten better. I think what is hurting us at the moment is that we didn't realize during COVID, that the others have been improving and the others have gotten things sorted, which we haven't. And that's the disturbing fact, I think, for us, that Indian football hasn't been able to sort its things out. There was a guy, Kagawa, who signed for Man United. Yeah, Shinji Kagawa played mostly for Borussia Dortmund. Yeah, just to name one, right? Nakamura, I remember, used to play for Celtic, great star. Takahara played at Hamburg here in Germany, big player in the Bundesliga. The Japanese have had great players over the years. So therefore, this thing that the Japanese don't have stars, for me, doesn't add up. I think after JJ, Sunil Sepik, and JJ gone, we just lost. Just give me love for Uniform 2018. Yeah, of course, we lost JJ a little earlier. We lost JJ to Ringo. That Orman Singh also at some stage in the mix. So yeah, we lost a lot of players over the years. So there. But again, who has come up to replace them, right? So therefore, that is to put the blame on the ISL is too easy, because development is not just on the ISL. The development is on the whole pyramid, and the pyramid hasn't been producing better players, right? So therefore, that's something. If you look at even some players produced even now in the national team, they're products of the Indian Arrows program, where the AIFF actually has played its part. So therefore, that's something. No? Biggest jealousy I get is from Uzbekistan, even so small nation, 30 lakh, not drawn with Iran is so melting me. Yeah, but Satyam, the size of a nation doesn't say how successful or how, if you can make it or not. So to me, that's something, um, you know, which makes no sense, right? To me, the Uzbeks have been doing a lot of things right. Have been working a lot of things on a lot of things. So therefore, they're successful, right? So yeah. Michael Chopra or Dora Su was more famous. I'm already saying sorry to Michael Chopra. Sorry, Chops, but Vikas Dovaso was a different level. Vikas Dovaso played for Lyon, AC Milan, PSG, played for France in a World Cup. So therefore, Dovaso, much bigger name. JJ was not disciplined enough, and Sunil was just the opposite. JJ was a more promising talent. Who said JJ wasn't disciplined enough? How do you make that assessment? I'm sometimes really surprised how you guys come up with these things. Sunil, in his younger days, wasn't disciplined. If you think he was, then you don't know Sunil Chetri. Right, before I go back to the points that are being mentioned, over and out, if you're liking the conversation, if you're enjoying what we're talking about, do leave a like behind, share it. 8 likes so far. Thanks a lot, guys. And if you want to come back for regular content, do subscribe to the channel. We have 2,480. And yeah, and to watch, as I say, the short videos that I try to make on a daily basis. Even JJ said once that we need funds to grooming in clubs. We lack funds. I don't think we lack funds. We're spending it wrongly. So we have large Indian diaspora. Why still there are very few subcontinent players at highest level? Utsav, you may talk about you. I think there is the problem is racism, which is not being addressed. They spoke about it, uh, you know. So therefore, that's something which is there. I want to study Uzbekistan football miracle. Just post something about it. Really interesting thing about it a lot. Satyam, yeah. It's a great story. It's a great story, but they've not been working on it since yesterday. They've been working on it since independence, with failures. Remember, India defeated Uzbekistan under Akramov through Baichung. Header at Yuha. Yeah, that was way, way back, Somanji, in the 90s. Sir, Kuru has played so good in Manipur leagues. I watched him in Keros also this season and speed is, which I prefer finishing his improvement. Okay, Satyam. If Michael Chopra and Vikas also was allowed to play for India, we could have been in different position in the national level. Even, yeah, 100%. Those are uh, sorry. Those are exceptional players. Jobs as well as Vikash. Vikash, of course. The question is if he could have played for us. That would be my question. As he played for France, but Jobs surely wanted to play for us, wasn't allowed to play for us. So therefore, that's a sad reality, but a reality. So therefore, yeah, would have helped maybe, but it's a difficult one. Uh, yeah. SCB says Holland in his next generation will never break Ronaldo 837 European international goals record. Okay. So are you scout in Europe or based to pick? Sir, are scouts in Europe biased to pick African players? Aviation to scouts favor physicality over technical players. What's up? I don't know if there is a bias or not. Um, there are, success stories build these decisions of coaches to say, you know what, I'm going to take player X, I'm going to take player Y, I'm going to take this, I'm going to take that player. And I don't think they favor physicality over technicality. There are different criteria. So therefore, you know, but Asian talent has not overall broken through the system like African talent has. I just look up to next matches. Hope we come big at Hong Kong with big score for 3-1 or 4-1. Satyam, I don't think about the score. You know, I just want to win in Hong Kong. I don't care of the score. It doesn't matter. I think Holland and Chile have the same problem, have a talent, but not a supporting team. Norway also, just like finishing other than Holland. Who says that? Didn't you see that they have Solot playing at Atletico, uh, Odegaard playing at Arsenal? I think Holland has, they're going to go to the World Cup most probably next time around. Um, that comparison to me doesn't work. Sunil Chetri is totally different. I'll also tell something about AFCON tournament. FCB AFCON African Cup of Nations is the equivalent to the AFC Asian Cup or the UEFA European Championships. So therefore, yeah, that's the post ISL and agent culture, why we're having fewer African players in Indian circuit. Historically, African players were very successful. Shumadri, I think, I'd be honest, I think the quality has moved up, and you see African players um, playing in the I League. Look at the standard and look at the standard of the players, mainly from Europe or South America, playing in the ISL. So therefore, we've moved on. I remember the times when we got our first Brazilians coming into the system. So things have changed over the last 10, 12 years. Why the gap between matches so long? Satyam, because there are FIFA windows. Huh? You've got a FIFA window in March, you've got a FIFA window in June, then September, October, November, and therefore you're supposed to play 12, 13 matches a year in those windows, a few here and there. So therefore, these are the gaps are there. Most of the African players can get work visa in France and Portugal easily, I guess, in my opinion, not to matter physicality. Okay, where does this work visa thing come about? The work visa for a footballer from anywhere in the world, in France or in Portugal or in Spain or in Germany or in Europe on the continent in general is going to be the same. So therefore, there is no, at least as far as I know, Stephen, this is not a reason. Just now press the like button. Thanks, FCB. Good to hear that. Even some African nations also have a very league we don't have until now is Scoot AIFF. Satyam, every country has a league in some sort of form or way. Every country in the world has a league somewhere or the other. So therefore, point to us is, who wants to play us? Who wants to face us? And these countries, when we look at the setup of the leagues, every country has a league of its own. We can organize a match friendly with nationals like Oman. Yeah, of course we could, but again, Oman needs to want to play us, right? So I don't know if Oman wants to play us at the moment, right? Or if our windows match, because Oman has to play qualifiers in the third round of the FIFA World Cup qualifiers. 3K subscribers loading soon. I hope so. FCB. Slowly, the channel is growing. At the moment, I think the aim is to go to 2,500, and then go to 3, and then go to 4, 5, and then move on. Mohun Bagan fans are literally gone mad in anger now. Like, are there any Triple fans going to Kolkata or not? In my opinion, they shouldn't go, as the present mental condition of Mohun fans is blood for blood. And the problem here is that any kind of violence at a football venue to me is not acceptable, and again, I think social media is not the best judge of what has happened. Is it really the way that it's being depicted? Is it not the way it's being depicted? I think someone needs to get to the bottom of these kind of stories and then actually report about it. Say, why did it happen? Why was this individual injured? But violence has no place in Indian football. And yeah, again, the treatment of away fans across India has, again, it doesn't get to the violent stage, but we've seen some pushing and shoving in other venues as well. So it's a problem at the moment. We're not seeing players like Özil, Hazard, Fabregas, Ronaldinho coming out through ranks. Flair is dying out, has become robotic and driven by data like X goals. Yes, that's one, and I think it's more about the team than about the individual, and that's something that is driving football these days, and therefore football is, to me, is a different game today than it was in the past. And yeah, football is I agree with you. It's become too robotic. It's become, sometimes I feel, too athletic, and that is something which is, I feel, is harming the beauty of the game, right? So therefore, that's a challenge that football has, and yeah, let's wait and see where football moves and goes. If someone say we don't have talent, I always oppose it, as we just on the to beat Qatar, but got dropped by these players only. That's why I just oppose some of your thing, like we don't have talent thing. Satyam, we were not on the verge of beating Qatar. That goal, yeah, was should have never been given. But I think we would have, as always, as we do, we would have succumbed to the pressure towards the end. And again, and talent. Name me talented players at the moment. I don't see an exceptional talent, right? So therefore, for me, that's something which is I don't see. I would like to see that, but I don't see that at the moment, that we have that exceptional talent that we can make a dent, make a difference, or young players coming through the system who need to be fast tracked into the senior national team. I don't see that. I don't, honestly don't see that. I mean to say, some Goans can get Portuguese passports, same way France, Portugal, colonized African countries have some. You need to migrate to France or Portugal, not work visa technically. You can do that, take that route, but again, it's often your first entry uh, is work visa as such. So therefore, these naturalizations, as I would call them, is not an easy thing to sort of manage for XYZ to get into those respective countries. All right, 1 hour 12 minutes. Try to answer all your questions so far. Once more, the reminder, also to those of you who might be watching this later on as a recording, if you haven't, do leave a like, do leave a share behind, and if you haven't, do subscribe to the channel. Arunfoot here on YouTube. Visit my other social medias. Visit arunfoot.com as well, and and look at the shorter videos that I make. Making quite a bit regarding the season reviews of the teams, and therefore, do give it a watch. From 2011, I was 16-year-old, started following any football actively on Facebook, but nothing has been changed with ISL showing false promise. Seven Raj, did it show false promise? I don't think it showed false promise. I mean, I was part of it in the first season, running Mumbai City FC, and I would tell you, out of own experience, being there, part of it, it showed real promise. But the point was that there were certain mistakes made in 2014, and they were not rectified, and therefore we are where we are. And therefore, the reality is even pre-ISL days, I would say, we've not moved forward, right? And that's not an ISL only problem; it's a problem of the whole system. Right? That's the real issue. Arun sir, what position did you play in your days? FCB, before the start of the ISL 2012, 2013, I was advising Reliance for a certain period of time on how to build a potential league. And then in 2014, I was COO of Mumbai City in the first campaign of the Indian Super League. Is it 12-15 in Germany? Yes, Stephen, it is 0-0-1-500 in Germany at the moment. So the thing is, we should only focus on our current talent, only up to which capability we have, and other things are just waste of time. No, but you can't focus on your current talent. Current talent is done and dusted, right? You're not going to be changing those boys and making them world-class players suddenly, right? That's the reality. But you need to focus on your next generation, the generation after that. We need to focus on building that talent, right? So therefore, that's the challenge we face, and that's what we need to work on, because otherwise, we're talking about it, but nothing is happening. If we don't work on talent development, if we don't work on, creating the next generation, we're not getting anywhere, and that's something which is very, very important. RFL, your 21 games look better than I-League games. Stevan, yeah, that's good. But the point is, do these kids then make it really at senior level in the ISL? That's where the next step should be. So you should collaborate with Talk Football HD Drogba. You will get more exposure. Thanks, Utsav, for that advice. You're not the first one to tell me that I need to collaborate with other people. always potentially open to it, but it's not on me to force myself in. If these people want to talk about something, they're more than welcome to reach out. But if they don't, I'm not going to force myself in. So therefore, yeah, that's how I see it and how I take it, right? Okay, 1 hour, 16 minutes. I take this opportunity to thank you guys to join me on this late night live, or early morning for some of you. If you're in India, um, it's already 3:47. Thanks a lot. Uh, uh, and Selman has something. Do you remember this group of players from India sent to Germany for this training called something U Football? Yeah, U Dreams. So it was stopped many years back. Yeah, seven together, worked together with Hoffenheim at the time. Yeah, didn't. Yeah. Answer, do you think from 2018 Germany is just focused on what is trending and then applying that approach and is not interested in long-term player scout like just Germany did 2000? I don't think so. I think Germany has just decided in the last year a lot of changes to the system. And I don't think that Germany is a country in regard to its football which is jumping on trends. I think a lot changed in 2013 when Pep Guardiola came to Bayern Munich. We changed a lot, and yeah, we didn't look. I think in 2018 it proved that Germany is not following the trends of global football, and we needed a little bit longer. But now we are following it, so therefore that's a fact. Steven said it's 11:17 p.m. in the UK. 7 it's 0:17 hours in Poland. So like me, it's already Saturday, the 5th of April. Once more, guys, a big thank you for joining in. As I say, like, share, and subscribe arunfoot here on YouTube. Visit my other social medias, visit arunfoot.com, and I'll be back very soon. And yeah, watch the content on the channel, spread it out to other people. Thanks for joining in this late, and I'll catch you very soon. Good night, everyone.